Welcome to Marketing and Mindset for Wellness Coaches, the podcast for health coaches and wellness entrepreneurs just like you who are building a business, making the world a healthier place, and designing a first-class life. I'm your host, Kim Foster, MD and certified business coach, and I'm on a mission to help you up-level your strategy and raise your mindset so you can truly thrive and grow your business. Let's get started. Hey there, welcome to this episode. Now, I'm recording this near the end of March, and right now there's only one thing that people are talking about, and that's the coronavirus pandemic. And I just have to say, these are really extraordinary times. I actually had an entirely different podcast episode planned for today, but I changed my mind, and instead I wanted to put this episode together for you to address head on what is no doubt occupying a lot of your thoughts. And I want to talk about some questions that are coming in from my clients and my community, and also some questions that I'm asking myself. I want you to know that I am here, and I'm feeling the fear and uncertainty too, just like you are. Now, I'm an MD, as you probably know, unless you're brand new to me, and in which case, welcome. So, of course, I have been knee-deep in all my medical circles online, pouring through all the updates coming to me through my official channels, and also trying to make sense of what's happening, and most importantly, where we're headed. But I'm also an entrepreneur, and I've got all the same questions and concerns that you have too about what this rapidly changing situation is going to mean for my business, for my clients' businesses, and just for the economy in general. And finally, as a wellness coach, it's really important to me to be talking about wellness in terms of protecting ourselves physically and emotionally, and practicing a lot of self-care to help us through this extremely challenging time. So I'm hoping to address all of those things to one degree or another in this episode, and I just want to put this episode out to be helpful to you because I know that many of you are feeling quite concerned, if not downright afraid, and I've got a lot of things to say on all of that. Obviously, right now, every day is different and we're experiencing new updates and things are changing really rapidly. And so I've been adopting, sort of a go with the flow mentality, which admittedly is not the easiest thing for me to do, being a planner and being fairly type A. But of course, everybody is being impacted in different ways. As an entrepreneur, you are probably feeling some effects of this pandemic, and maybe you're feeling some big effects. Maybe you had to cancel an event or postpone a speaking engagement, and as a result, you lost income. Maybe some of your clients emailed you for cancellations or for refunds because they're panicking about money and everything is so uncertain. But I've found that one thing that has really helped me is the idea of coming together collectively and sharing ideas for how to get through this and what to focus on now and what to do personally and also inside our businesses. And although you may be feeling the impulse right now to just hide under your bed and totally retreat to safety, which I understand completely because I went through a few days of that last week, to be honest. But I think talking and listening and sharing ideas is a far better way forward so that we can find creative solutions rather than just freeze up and not know what to do. It's very hard to make major decisions right now because there is news coming up every day. The situation is changing constantly. And of course, things are being shut down more and more, which makes it difficult to make any set decisions. So it's important to be in the flow and to really take things as they go. That said, I'd love to offer some perspectives that may be helpful. And to start, I just want to take a really brief look back at history because although this pandemic is, as the World Health Organization says, in uncharted territory, the world has definitely seen disasters before. There was the Great Depression and World War I and World War II, and then there was 9/11, and then the housing market crash and credit crunch of 2008. So how did people handle things in challenging times? How did they get through it? What kinds of smart, resourceful choices did business owners and entrepreneurs make during these times? When something scary happens in the world, whether it's a terrorist attack or a war or a hurricane or a recession, people usually react with fear. For the first few days or weeks anyway, which is actually where we are now, I believe, people usually cut expenses way back. They spend way less and they hoard their resources. They retreat and gather close with their families because they really just want to feel safe. And this is a normal human reaction. This is a survival instinct, and of course it's where we are right now. It's how many people are reacting. But this is not the new normal. This is not forever, as much as it may feel like that sometimes, but this is not forever. It never has been the pattern, and it's not now. Things are going to improve. And once the initial panic subsides, interesting things start to happen. Several times throughout history, tragedy has led to some very positive things like innovation and new jobs, entire new industries and economic growth, and also a sense of unity and togetherness. A lot of amazing things can come out of dark times. And I, for one, believe that this situation can bond us, not break us. So let's take a look at an example. The Great Depression of 1929 caused financial chaos for a huge number of families. Housing prices tanked and unemployment went up to 25%. But during this time, people came together and bonded and responded in really remarkable ways. One of my mentors pointed out that, as an example, the US government, after the Great Depression, they created the New Deal program. And as a result, a lot of iconic structures were built. So like the Chrysler Building in Rockefeller Center and San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge and many others. So without the Depression, we might not have these incredible buildings. The people who were alive during the Depression got through it by being creative and by being resourceful and by creating new opportunities and new solutions that didn't exist before. And as C.S. Lewis is quoted to have said, hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. A lot of positive things have been born out of crisis. For example, another example, that is the global financial crisis in 2008. So there was economic panic and the housing market bottomed out and a lot of people lost their jobs. There were huge layoffs and a ton of unemployment. And most likely you remember that particular phase in history. However, one positive effect is that many people took stock of their situation and said, I am done with cubicle nation. I am completely over being a worker bee, and I certainly don't want to put all my eggs in one basket and rely on this one job to be my sole income stream. I want way more security than that. I want multiple revenue streams, not just one. And I want to do things on my own terms and be my own boss. A lot of people really claimed their power during this time, and there was a huge wave of people who started running their own businesses or freelancing. Blogging surged, if you remember that. Everybody was creating a blog, and a lot of women decided to use new technology to build their own websites and really build a new side hustle or a whole new career for themselves. So now that we've got a bit of perspective, let's talk strategy, what you should actually be doing right now in your business to ensure your survival and to ensure that you are still standing on the other side of this crisis. First of all, I want you to get creative. This is the first thing that I can give you, is that when you're uncertain in your business, you can get more creative inside your business, meaning I want you to think outside the box and look for creative, innovative solutions. Instead of choosing frustration and overwhelm, I like to choose focus. Growing a business has always included a lot of risk and overwhelm and frustration, but I have always found that the best way to counteract all that is with focus. I always like to be organized, and I always like to know where to focus in my business so that I don't get all chaotic and frustrated and overwhelmed. Instead, I say, okay, I'm going to focus on this piece right here. First, we'll be creative, then I'll focus, then I'll get it done. Because when you're focusing on action and when you're moving forward, it will make you feel productive, and then you're going to be getting more things done. I want you to really think outside the box in your business. If you're cut off in your business right now, or you have to do things differently, now is the time to think of how you can potentially diversify. So to give you some examples, one of my clients has built her business on speaking. That was a major pipeline for new clients for her. But now all of those events are canceled. So we've been looking at ways to generate new leads online, how we can use online channels to generate leads, because of course the regular way she was using to generate leads just isn't working right now. So we're thinking outside the box. Another client of mine runs a service-based business, but because of the particular sector she services, a lot of her clients are canceling their packages with her. So on our session this week, we brainstormed a variety of ways that she could generate income in a different way. Could she take her expertise and turn it into a course, turn it into a done-for-you product, pivot and serve a slightly different target market with her services? You can diversify lots of things in your business. You can diversify your client base. You can diversify where you advertise or how you advertise. You can really diversify a number of things, even the services that you're offering. You really have to believe that you are a creative, resourceful entrepreneur and that you can adapt. This situation will not break you, and you are going to survive and even thrive. So who else can you serve? Because of all of these extraordinary circumstances right now, this may actually mean that you need to take a complete left turn in your business. If you were serving a particular group of people and right now that is just not going to work, then who else can you serve? It may not be forever. It may be for the next few months or several months perhaps, but it certainly is the case for right now. So that's tip number 1, is to get creative in your business and think of innovative solutions and really begin to think outside the box. Tip number 2 is along the same lines, but it's to figure out how you can go even more online. I think one result of this crisis and the fact that everybody is isolating and reducing direct human contact is that businesses everywhere are going to realize the power of being able to function online, of having their employees work from home and virtual work and not even going back to an office. We've always had the capacity, though, well, not always, but certainly recently have had the capacity through virtual services and video conferencing and live streaming, but there was really only a certain percentage of people who had actually embraced that technology and was using it as a routine part of their business. And certainly online coaching has been a thing for a while now. And if there was ever a good time to build an online business, now is definitely the time. I think we're going to see a change in how we all do business and how we work from this crisis that we're in. And I actually think it's going to make things better. I think there will be an enormous uptake of telemedicine, for one thing. And to be honest, I always thought most medical professionals and clinics were incredibly slow to embrace this technology. And there was just no reason for it other than just kind of some stubbornness and the attitude of, well, this is how we've always done it. But now we are all, as in every sector, forced to come up with virtual ways of doing business online. And I actually think this is going to be one big positive that comes of this crisis. So recognizing that, I want you to get really serious about thinking about how you can take your business entirely online if you're not already there. And if you're not sure how to do that, I want you to get some help in implementing that, in implementing how to build and grow an online business. Okay, so tip number 3, the next thing that I want to talk about is to take a long-term view. Now, a lot of times when you focus on just the next 2 weeks or this month, like I have to make this amount of money before the end of the month, or I have to get X number of clients this month. And we all set those kinds of goals. Like that's just been the way that many of us have functioned for a while, but it can create a lot of stress. And to be honest, there may not be a lot that you can do this month or this week, given what we're dealing with in the world right now. So I encourage you to fix your eyes on a longer time horizon and maybe look at the next quarter, Q2, or maybe the next 6 months or something along those lines. It just gives you more space and more ease, and it gives you more freedom to go up and down. Ultimately, you want your business to accomplish certain things within a year. I know there are monthly expenses and you have to pay your bills on a monthly basis and there's all that, but if you're managing cash flow okay, and hopefully you have some reserves that can float you for a bit, this will enable you to adopt a more long-term approach. That will take some of the pressure off of you so that you're not focused on what's happening tomorrow, but what's going to happen in the next 3 months or more. So next of all, I want to talk about in the short term, I want you to think of what you can do to be of service. I find that it helps right now to really focus on being of service. This may not be a huge money generating time, but it is a time when we can help. Many of my clients are now offering free coaching, and I think now is the time, maybe not to make everything free, but to give back to a certain degree, to approach your messaging in your marketing from a place of service, much more so than ever. Make service your number one. And if it leads to clients now or in the future, like 6 months or a year from now, that's great too. But any kind of live streaming perhaps that you can be doing, or virtual workshops or free coaching conversations, I think that those things are really helpful right now. And if you're not sure what people want right now and how you can best help them, then do a survey. I think that would be an amazing thing to do. Really talk to your tribe, to your community, find out what they need, what they want, what they're struggling with, and find innovative ways of giving them those things. So moving on to tip number 5 is to review and tweak your messaging. The first thing about your messaging is that I think personally that you actually need to message more right now. Message more, but you need to message the right stuff. So the message to me now needs to be very tactful and to acknowledge what's happening to all of us, not negative, not a downer. It should definitely be uplifting and positive, but it should come from the right place. I think the best thing you can do is just to acknowledge the situation that we're in. If you're coming at things from a really supportive angle and then message and be out there even more, I think people will see that you're trying to communicate, that you're trying to exchange ideas and information and be really helpful, and they'll receive it that way too. Now, it's interesting, of course, as you message more and become even more visible perhaps than you were before and really get out there, you may actually encounter people who don't respond well to that. They may say that now is not the time to be vocal or talking about whatever it is that you talk about. I have actually received that feedback a couple of times in the past week, but it's okay because I know that this is a result of people being afraid, of people not knowing how to deal with this. It's a result of fear, and that's how some people are going to react. But not everybody is going to have that reaction. And I don't believe that we need to be quiet and shut everything down. I actually want to be out there more if possible, like online. I mean, not in reality, because of course we need to isolate, but being out there online, more visible if possible, because I really want to help and I want to lead and I want to support people. So it is possible that if you are more visible than normal right now, you're going to come across some people who are reacting out of fear and who are going to disagree with you and who are not going to want to hear from you. And that's okay. As long as you believe in your message and you believe that you have a purpose to help and speak up, then you have to go for it. Truth be told, there are people who need to hear us more than ever, especially if you're in coaching like me. I believe that my purpose is to help people, and how can I possibly help anybody if I'm quiet? I can't. So we definitely need to share and speak up and run business as usual as much as possible. At the same time, you do need to be careful and sensitive when it comes to your messaging. If you have any automated emails or posts or messages, you really need to check them and just see how it will land given our current situation. Trying to ignore this situation is not the way to go, but neither is shrinking back and saying nothing. So with your messaging and your marketing, you can definitely be supportive and uplifting, and that's what I would focus on. Make sure that you're not coming across as being tone deaf to the situation. It is not good to appear totally oblivious and insensitive to this difficult time. Heavily salesy messages are not going to go over well at the moment, in my opinion. So take a look at your messaging and just kind of tweak it and pivot it given the filter of our current situation. Okay, so my tip number 6, and this is my final topic to talk about today, is permission to stop worrying. So, I mean, giving yourself permission to be grounded and calm and to stop worrying. I like this quote by Randy Armstrong. Worrying does not take away tomorrow's troubles. It takes away today's peace. So what do I mean by this? Permission to stop worrying. Let me give you an example to illustrate what I mean. So I am not the most comfortable flyer, even though I absolutely love to travel. I mean, I did. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, which is fine because I know there will be travel in my future. But when it comes to flying in an airplane, I don't love it. At one point, though, my anxiety was getting kind of bad, and I found myself really stressing about flights that I was taking. So I started listening to some guided meditations about a fear of flying. And I was listening to this one time when I was sitting in the airport getting ready to board. And one of the things that the woman who was doing the guided meditation in my earbuds, one of the things that she said that really hit home was that worrying doesn't keep you safe. And in that moment, I realized that I actually was worrying because I thought that if I wasn't worrying, I wouldn't be safe. Do you know what I'm saying? I realized that I had a belief that as long as I kept on thinking about it and worrying about it, then the plane would stay up in the air. And as soon as I stopped thinking about it, I would no longer be safe. It was kind of like this magical thinking thing. And of course, once I realized that that was what I was doing and how faulty that thinking was, I was really able to just let it go. It's okay. I don't have to worry. I don't even have to think about it. I just have to be. And it's okay to just breathe and relax and even do pleasurable things like read a book or watch a movie, and it doesn't make me any less safe. The person on the plane who is in full-blown panic mode is no more or less safe than the person who is happily having a snack and watching a movie and smiling and enjoying themselves. And that is the situation that we're in right now. It's okay to relax and be calm. Worrying about what is going to happen with this pandemic is not keeping you safe. Now, preparing and taking action, that's a different thing. So I do believe that you need to be prepared in terms of having enough food and washing your hands and all of those things. But once you've prepared yourself for isolation, then the actual worrying piece is unnecessary. It does not help you in this situation, and so you can let the worry go and still stay safe. Your number one thing right now is to be grateful, to be calm, to be comfortable with your family, be grateful for all the great efforts that are happening out there, because we always have a choice. We are always in control of our thoughts. And so I want you to consciously choose thoughts that are supportive and positive, and keep working at reducing the thoughts that are negative and disastrous and catastrophizing. And when I say work at it, I mean every day, like every hour. Just keep reframing your negative, worry-based thoughts to thoughts of positivity and hope. Because, like I say, you sitting at home worrying about it doesn't actually influence the outcome. So you might as well choose thoughts that make you feel good. Okay, so just to recap, the topics that I covered today are 1, to get creative in your business. 2 is to figure out how you can go even more online. 3 is to take a long-term view. And 4 is to, in the short term, focus on being of service. 5 is to make sure that you take some time to review and tweak your messaging. And 6 is to give yourself permission to stop worrying. And there's one more thing that might be helpful to you, and that's a bundle of resources that I've put together to help you navigate this challenging time. It includes a bunch of checklists and other resources like ways to boost your immune system and smart ways to strengthen your business as you're working from home, and workouts and things that you can do from home and all kinds of things like that. So I've uploaded that bundle into my private Facebook group, Health Coach Squad. So if you join us inside there, you can find it. You'll find a link to the group inside the show notes, and it's a totally free group, by the way, and a totally free resource package. I would, of course, love for you to be inside our group, but if Facebook just isn't your thing, then you can opt in to that resource bundle with the link inside the show notes here, and then download the bundle for free that way. As always, I hope this has served you, and I hope I was able to bring some new ideas and maybe some new suggestions or things that you might not have thought of before that really will help you to look at what we're dealing with right now. It's always a joy to spend time with you, and I really appreciate your time. I know you're busy, so I really appreciate that. Just one final reminder, I really want to encourage you to speak up. I want to encourage you to reach out, to see how you can help people, see how you can be a leader in your niche, in your field right now. There is no need to hide or be quiet. People definitely want to hear from you. They want your expertise and your support. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Have a good week and stay safe and well. Keep yourself calm and centered. Stay focused. Take care of yourself so you can continue doing your good work in the world. Bye for now.